Well, hello everyone, it's Renee from Collective Shout here, and with me is Naomi from Redeemed with Purpose, who's joining us to share about her experience as an Etsy seller. So most of you who are watching this know last year, we exposed Etsy for selling child sex abuse dolls and body parts, and we asked Etsy to stop. Our investigations uncovered a significant number of childlike, child-sized dolls for sale on the platform, even dolls custom made to look like real children. Since then, we've uncovered a whole host of merchandise promoting child abuse and incest themed, and these products are appearing right alongside Father's Day gifts and children's books. And as we know, these products just serve to normalize incest and child abuse and put girls at risk. So in January this year, Australian fashion designer, singer-songwriter, and mother of five, Anna Cordell, launched a petition with our backing, calling on Etsy to stop selling incest and child abuse themed merchandise on their platform. And this petition has gained over 42,000 signatures so far. So we have seen great support in calling Etsy to account, including Naomi, who has been a wonderful support and great example to others on what can be done. So Naomi, I just want to say, first of all, thank you for your support and for sharing with us today.
You're welcome. I mean, thank you guys too for bringing it to my attention, because myself, like many other Etsy sellers, had no idea. And now that we know, we cannot unknow. We cannot look the other way. So I'm so happy to be part of the dialogue and part of just the culture, raising the bar and raising our voices that this is not okay.
Exactly. So to get started, Naomi, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Redeemed with Purpose?
Yeah. First, I have to say that I started working in the front lines with a Canadian charity, working with survivors of sexual exploitation, human trafficking. And I did that for a number of years. And so that's when I became aware of the issue. And this is a cause that I'm willing to dedicate my life to. And there's always a way to be supporting survivors or fighting just the injustice of it. So I had to quit to stay at home, raise my kids, and that was 3.5 years ago. But I couldn't stop talking about the problem. All this information, all this knowledge, all this frontline experience, I couldn't just put it away and not look at it. And so I started actually redeeming belts. That's where the name came from. Started to convert old belts from the thrift store and turn them into cuffs. And after some time, that was going fairly good. And after some time, we started into jewelry. And my purpose was to use the business as a platform to keep speaking about the sex trade, empowering consumers to make a difference with their choices. And at that early stage, I had decided to give away 100% of my net proceeds. Now I give away 50. 100 was a little bit ambitious. And so in the second year, I switched to 50% of net proceeds, which is still a sacrifice for our family, but one that we're willing to make. And so in 3.5 years, we've given away over $20,000. We choose a new charity every year. And this year's charity is Defend Dignity. And we love supporting frontline organizations that are really making a difference in this fight.
Amazing, amazing. It's really encouraging to hear about everything that you're doing and the sacrifice that you're making. You're a very powerful voice in this space, and we're very happy to have connected with you. So with Redeemed with Purpose and everything that you're doing, can you share with us a little bit about your experience of being an Etsy seller, because you've been using this platform to sell? What has it been like for you over the last few weeks or months even?
Yeah, well, as soon as I became aware of the petition, which I signed right away and shared on my platform. And as soon as I was aware that Etsy has allowed this, I could not do business there. I work my tail off to give away half my proceeds. And the fact that they take a percentage of every sale, of every post, of every listing, it was hypocritical. And the people support us because we give money away. They also like the jewelry, but they really like our cause. And so it just didn't, it was like oil and water. It didn't fit. So I started to look around for other e-commerce businesses, and I started to investigate which ones have done the best due diligence in terms of policy to protect children. And you can link to the YouTube video that I did there. I looked at several of the top ones available to us here in Canada. And Etsy just does not cut it. Shopify came to the very top of my list very quickly. And so in the last few weeks, I've been in the process of setting up Shopify and leaving Etsy. I should mention, just before I left, I guess what really confirmed my decision was I was just randomly, I do most of my shopping on Etsy. So I was randomly looking for more supplies. And then I came across wrapping paper that was incest theme without a doubt. And like, let's not, it wasn't cute, you guys. It was full on incest messaging. And then also chocolate molds that were totally inappropriate, sexual acts, and just stuff that I don't need to see. Etsy says they have a mature label, which they put on certain product. So you have to click mature before you view it, but that was not the case for sure. So these two products I reported to Etsy. You have to go onto the seller's page to report it. So you're going to see all their garbage. And then once, this is really not well thought out by Etsy, once you report it, then it comes on my homepage under my top picks category. Now, every time I go to my shop to Etsy, I have to see the stuff that I've reported. And just so upsetting. And so that was just really the final straw. Like, no, I'm done. I'm off this site.
Mm. And have you heard anything from Etsy from these reports that you've made? I know you've been quite vocal about it on social media, calling out Etsy as well. Have you heard anything from them?
Nothing, not at all. And I tag them a lot because I want them to respond. And so absolute silence, which really speaks volumes, actually.
Mm. And so you mentioned you were looking for other platforms that have stronger policies around this and allowing this kind of content on their platform. What was your experience there?
Yeah, I think most companies, and fair enough, this probably isn't high on their radar. Most e-commerce businesses seem to be more concerned about copyright issues, not about child protection, because I don't think that they're thinking that sellers are going to sell incest and child abuse themed material. Like, I'm sure that wasn't on their radar. So I'll give them a little bit of leeway for that. But the fact is, this is the world we live in, and we know that demand drives supply. And we know there's a huge demand for child sexual abuse material, including photos and videos and paraphernalia. And so in that world that we live in, I think all companies have to do their part. And Shopify came at the very top of the list, number one in their category for what's accepted and what's not accepted on their site. Number one was anything related to child sexual exploitation. So I was just super impressed because a lot of the other ones, they do list it. It's just kind of towards the bottom of their policies, and it's not in great detail. Also, they didn't indicate that what they would do if they found it, what policies are in place when it does happen, because they can almost expect it to happen. And so I was just really impressed with that. In addition to that, if you are a seller on Etsy, I have to tell you, you are holding yourself back. I had no idea. I was not going to leave Etsy. I was content. But now that I've seen the light, seen the other side, you guys, Shopify is full of so many features, almost all which are free. It's like Shopify really wants to help you sell and really wants to help your business. With Etsy, honestly, the image I get in my head with Etsy is it's a garage sale table. They'll give you a table and you're lucky if people come by your table. Shopify has so many features, including like pop-ups, discounts for signing up to newsletters, loyalty reward program, tipping features, which is amazing for charity. You can do really easy product videos, and almost all of these apps so far have been free.
That's incredible, isn't it? So,
Don't compare.
you wouldn't have made this move had you not been made aware of the products that Etsy was selling. So the stand that you've taken has been great, but it's also benefit you as well because you're able to move over to a platform that serves you well.
Isn't that amazing? It's like, why wouldn't we move? And then let me talk costs for a minute. I did go look at my numbers because I always felt Etsy was affordable. I think because they take so little off every listing, purchase, that you don't really notice it. But I looked at my numbers from the entire last year. So all of last year, my expenses on Etsy, and that includes like my website, which was through them as well, was $2,100. Okay. I have just paid for my 1 year subscription with Shopify for $1,150 with all those free features. And I don't have to pay now when I don't have to pay per listing anymore. And on Etsy, your listings expire in 3 months. I was always having to relist them. So it really added up on Etsy without really me even being aware of it.
That's incredible, isn't it? You're in a much better position now than you were before for so many reasons. Not
So
just
many reasons. Like, oh my goodness, it's shocking, you guys. So do some research, crunch the numbers, and yeah, if that doesn't give you incentive to leave Etsy, I don't know what would.
exactly, yeah. I think it's important for people to know Etsy doesn't have the monopoly on this market, right? There are other choices out there, and there are choices that not only benefit us business wise, but we can shop there knowing that we can shop and buy there ethically. We're supporting a cause that takes issues like this seriously.
Yes. Now, one challenge that I'm going to face is sourcing my material. I do mainly source off of Etsy. So, what I've been trying to do is almost all the suppliers on Etsy, if they're a little bit bigger, they have a website as well. So, ask for their website or look for their website, and they actually save money too if they sell off Etsy. So, message them and ask if there's any way that you can buy the product. Even if you see it on Etsy, you could still buy it off of Etsy.
Yeah, that's really good for people to know. Thank you for sharing that. So, ultimately, what do you feel is most important for buyers and sellers that are currently on Etsy for them to know? What is your message for them?
Think we've seen that organizations and businesses, they can be part of the solution if they want to. Sometimes they might need a little bit of public pressure so that they just make it more of a priority and a little bit more quickly. But we definitely, consumers, sellers, all of us, we have power, you guys. We have to use it. So not being silent, I think, is important. And you know what? It's so easy on Instagram. It's so easy on Instagram to call anybody out, which I know can be dangerous as well. But in this case, tagging all these companies, and let's not forget some of the big companies like Amazon is just as bad, if not worse, than Etsy. Credit card companies processing still payments on sexual abuse sites that include children, even without children. All these middlemen, all these middle companies that have been silent for too long, I think it's time to call them all out.
Absolutely. We are 100% in agreement with you as Collective Share. And like you said, we've called out people before in this exact same situation. So there have been other platforms who have been found to be selling child sex abuse dolls, and we've called them out and they've taken action. Alibaba was a really great example of that. When we highlighted what they were selling, they removed the products, and now we're even in talks with them to help them create a code of ethics of sorts to make sure that products like this don't creep back onto their platform. So it is possible. And that is what we're calling on Etsy to do ultimately. And it's supporters like yourself and the 42,000 others who have signed the petition, creating this public outcry to say, we're not okay with this and we're demanding change. So it is time for Etsy to step up and do what others have done in the past. So again, we thank you for your support, Naomi, and for being part of this campaign calling on Etsy to exercise corporate social responsibility. This isn't a tall order, you know, we can all do this. And so we're believing that Etsy can do the same. So thank you again. And before we wrap up, Naomi, is there anything that you want to finish with?
I think that if we are all serious about a world without sexual exploitation and human trafficking and sexual abuse of any kind, it is important that we all recognize and be looking out for opportunities to speak up, put our foot down, raise our voice, write a letter, share a post, make a video, whatever. We have to remember who it is that we're speaking for. We're speaking for the vulnerable. We're speaking for the voiceless. We're speaking for kids who do not know how to protect themselves from predators. That is the reality. And I think that when we see something that isn't right, we have to speak up. Because if we don't, if we turn a blind eye, if we're too uncomfortable as adults to say something about it, who suffers the most? And there's no difference between their children and our children. Kids are kids everywhere, and especially nowadays with the internet, they're all potentially exposed to predators, because predators go where the kids are. And so I think it's all part of the culture that we have to recognize, and that we have to start speaking up and doing something about it. So whenever you guys see something isn't right with you, doesn't sit right, contact an organization, find out more, find out what your voice is, find out what you can do. And I think that if all of us kind of live in this solution space, then we won't be so overwhelmed and depressed by kind of the injustices that we see. It's actually quite empowering. I know for us, it's very invigorating to be part of change and to be calling companies out and asking them to raise the bar. So it's very encouraging to be on this side of the problem. So yeah, I just invite people, get involved, become aware, follow these amazing frontline organizations that are making a difference. Like you guys, Defend Dignity, Thorn is a good one, and Cozy, Exodus Cry. Get behind them. We don't have to do all the work. Let them do the work. We'll just support them.
Well said, beautifully articulated. We couldn't have said it better ourselves, Naomi. Thank you again. For those of you who are wanting to get involved, visit our website, collectiveshout.org, find the petition, sign it if you haven't already, share it, get your friends to sign and share it. We really want to ramp this thing up and continue to put the pressure on Etsy until they take action. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and thank you again, Naomi, for sharing with us.
Thanks, you guys.